Traffic Time with Jaime. I am Jaime. I will be your host for today's episode. Thank you for coming back if you're a follower. Thank you for supporting if you're new. Stick around, listen to what I have to say. I would love to hear your opinions and thoughts in the comments section, or if you know me personally, let me know what you think in general, how the channel is doing, or if you have feedback on the video itself. I'd love to hear it. Today I want to talk about something that came around after talking with workers or co-workers, and it's regards to being a parent. I want to say that in my 25-30 years of talking to people about kids and their opinions and thoughts, everybody still seems to have the same mentality as far as not being sure if they want to have kids. Now, those people that already know from a young age that they want to be parents, if they want to have kids, they seem to jump on it as soon as they can, have the ability to, not really thinking about or discussing financial situations, living situations, anything like that. It's a feeling and emotion. They are ready for it. They've always wanted it, so that's what they're going to go for. Now, when you talk to the younger generation, younger adults, which does lead into, adults in their 30s and 40s that enjoy having their freedom, enjoy doing their own thing, but like kids, they are not sure if they want to have kids at that point, because they feel like they want the attention, they want the freedom, they don't want to be stuck doing or not doing something because of their child. And to me, that is the mature and responsible thing to do. I feel like it's better than getting into parenthood and then handing off your kid or your kids to, brothers and sisters or parents or friends just because they're willing to. Now, if you have siblings that love to be aunts and uncles and they want to, hang out with their nieces and nephews, that's one thing. But for you to have kids and to always be pawning them off to other people on weekends or when you want to take trips just because you don't want to give up or sacrifice the things that you enjoy, that's where I feel like you should have decided that or thought about that beforehand. That's kind of why I want to bring it up again now or discuss it right now, because if I play the devil's advocate, and I kind of consider, my own experience, but a lot of discussions from friends and family over the years, people don't tell you, or there aren't enough conversations, especially at my age when I was younger. Social media wasn't the big thing. Social media was more so around or starting to develop as a way of communicating with people from, other states, other countries, mainly family members that you haven't seen in a while. It was a way to post your partying time, your friendships. There wasn't channels or podcasts to really communicate these conversations. So it wasn't that people weren't talking about it, it wasn't talked about in social media. So nowadays, obviously, there's more conversation, more news, more people posting these scenarios, these questions, these thoughts and opinions. And again, it goes back to, well, nobody told me about this, or I'll see videos that they talk about what to look for, when looking for kids, what to look for, or how to prepare for having kids. But nobody really tells you what to think about, what to consider that you might gain or lose or postpone once you're going to have kids. So diving right into it, one of the first things is your time. Not even considering the first year or so when you seem to lose sleep, especially if you're an involved parent or involved partner, you're gonna lose sleep. The mom is gonna lose sleep and time because of breastfeeding. Once that stage is over, a lot of moms will just pre-pack milk so that they can still go back to work or go about their lives so that they don't lose too much time in their field or just in their personal life of doing things. For males, there are males that are involved or super involved, and they'll take the 3 months off. They'll also make sure they're available or they can make it work, especially if they're remotely working. It'll allow them time to pitch in and do more. If you have a partner that isn't as involved, well then it makes the other person, typically the mom, lose more time in sleep for a long period of time. Once you get into the toddler ages and then consider them, going to preschool and TK, whatever, you're going to lose their time because they require so much attention. And this is considering that your child doesn't have any special needs, considerations, that they're not handicapped in any way, their progress doesn't slow down in any way. Traditional, typical child going from point A to point B to point C in the average timely manner, right? You're gonna have to give up time of your day, time of your week, time of your month, time of the year to apply towards your kid. If you have multiple kids, well then obviously that increases. So if you have 2 or 3 kids, that increases the amount of time that you're going to have to, if you want to be an involved parent, to give to them. Goes back to that same discussion. Yes, you can have multiple kids and not give them the attention, or at least not the attention that they would like, and you're just doing it for the purpose of passing on, your legacy to. But to me, that's where it becomes a little controversial, a little shady. If you're only going to have kids to benefit you, essentially in the long run, it might blow up in your face and it's not going to benefit you. Because if you're not involved and attached to your kids, when they get older, they're not going to feel that attachment and responsibility to help take care of you. So yeah, your name might continue, but who's to say that they don't change your name? Especially for males. Just because you're a male doesn't mean that they'll never change your last name, and there goes your family name. I did consider personally, when I wanted to have kids, that I wanted to pass on knowledge and information and be able to pass on things that I have learned over my time to my kids. One of the biggest things that I consider, and I'll be completely transparent, it was to basically show my parents and the world that I wasn't going to be like them. I wasn't going to be like my dad. Obviously with some hereditary traits and lifelong, I wouldn't say lifelong, but years of being raised by my parents, some things are just built in and instilled in me that are hard to break, and it's taken all the way into my 40s to break those issues or habits, and some things are still a struggle. But overall, in general, I wanted to prove that I wasn't going to be the parent that my parents were to me. The same thing goes to other people. If you are going to have kids, to prove to the world that parenting doesn't have to be the way they were parented, the way they parented you, it's more of a selfish, psychological issue. And unfortunately, not everybody has the luxury of having somebody tell you that that's what you're doing. So you're going to go through with it and not find out till they're older that that's pretty much what you did. So I had kids, or my wife and I had kids, and I love my kids. And I love spending time with them, showing them things. The things that get me or catch me off guard is when I'll see my son do something that I didn't think he was going to pick up, or maybe had to focus on, but he does. Those are some great feelings as a parent to see, like, oh man, I really taught him something. I reached out, I walked him through something and he picked it up. Or you know what, just by me modeling certain things, he has picked up. And those are some of the pros to being a parent and doing your best as a parent. But then you go back to, people still have this selfish need, and I don't mean in a bad way or to disrespect anybody, because I'm the same way. You can have a selfish part of you where you want to have time to yourself. You want to have time with just yourself and your wife. And I know my wife and other people will say, well, you know what? You're not always going to have your kids. You're not always going to have toys around the house. You're not always going to have the things that bother you now around the house. And true, and at any moment those things can be gone, especially once they're grown up and gone out of the house. But to people like myself, that process or those thoughts don't really run through our head on a day-to-day basis. All we see is, I'm not getting what I would want or desire right now, even though I love my kids and I want them around. I don't regret having them. Not only do I want kids, but I want to be able to enjoy my wife and a trip here and there, or a visit to a location that doesn't require the kids, or going out without the kids. Like, there's so many things that you would like to do, but then also feel guilty doing them because you know you have kids that can join you. Especially if your kids enjoy doing those things, you know, you don't like to do them without them because it feels like, well, why are you choosing not to? Now, obviously, if it's a work-related trip or work-related event, those things, if they don't allow kids, you're going to do something fun without them. But if you know your kids enjoy going to theme parks and you go to the theme park without them, you're going to have some type of guilt. At least if you're, again, that involved parent that wants to have kids purposefully, then you're going to go through those emotions, those thoughts. When you think about how much you want to have to yourself, how much time you want to have to yourself, if it's way past a certain point, then you really have to make that choice and decision and say, you know what, I'm just not ready to have kids, and I don't know if I'll ever be. I like to refer a lot to an interview I saw with John Cena, and they asked him, you know, well, is it time do you see yourself having kids? Maybe not settling down as far as stop acting and resting, doing everything he does. And he said no. He said, you know what, there's so much that I want to do, so much I have gotten to do because I don't have kids, and I still want to put that time and effort into myself, which is not right when you choose to have a child and still want to have all that time for yourself, because you're not going to be able to take your kids or child with you to all these events or all these adventures, all these trips, especially when they're younger. Some people do it as much as they can when they're toddlers, but you know, that's another person you have to worry about. It's one thing to worry about your girlfriend or your wife. It's a different feeling than having siblings. When you have a child, that child came from, you know, your genes, your blood. You created them, so you have a separate attachment. It's very unfortunate for those people that don't get that attachment, and that's where you have those scenarios, those cases where you know, kids grow up without their parents being present. Yes, they have parents, but they're not present, and that's a big thing that my wife has helped me make sure that I don't separate myself in that way. I still kind of have things that I enjoy, things to myself. As our son gets into, you know, his high school time, his high school years, we have a younger child that's barely starting off her life, but it's not the same because she doesn't have the same needs that he did when he was little. So I don't have to focus as much on her for certain things, and it allows me to do things for my wife or things for our son or things around the house that I didn't put the effort or time to do so when our son was little. So to wrap it all up, if you are thinking about having kids, or a kid, sorry, child, or you just found out you're gonna have a child, really mentally start preparing yourself to be able to do more for that child and less for yourself. If you can't imagine being able to do that, then I would highly suggest you surround yourself with people that will help you with that, because it is really unfair for that child to come into the world without having someone present for them. My wife and I were talking about this when it came to, you know, kids that she's around. She works at a school, and you can usually tell when the parents are not involved. Just because kids have parents doesn't mean you have somebody there to teach them how to act, how to treat others, how to behave, how to communicate. Those things they see from you. They model after you. Now, they're not going to be an exact mirror. Some have tantrums, some have tempers, but they also typically see how you react when you grow up, when you have your tempers, when you have your upsetting times. If you model that a certain way, that's how they're going to take it. So when parents are not there or present or involved, those kids will look to somebody else, or now, you know, they'll look to social media or their friends' parents, and if they get into the wrong groups, you know, how are they going to act or behave? So really think about how you want to be there, and if you really want to be involved in your child's life, then wait till you can do that for them. Now, stepping to the side of this, the side angle, you know, I agree to what a lot of people say. There's never a perfect time to have kids. For some people there is, especially for those that are financially set. They don't need anything, they haven't really needed anything in their life. They're ready to have a child or two or But unfortunately, with the times we're in, that's a very small percentage of people in this world. So if you're in the United States and you're struggling, maybe you don't have kids. If you're already going to have one, then try to change or put yourself in a situation that it will not be as a struggle, especially to have that child. Yes, there are benefits. Yes, there are tax breaks. Yes, there are things that can help people that are single parents or couples that are not married. But you can only get so much help. The biggest takeaway is understanding that that child, that little person is going to want and need attention and care from you for a long time, and you have to be willing to put that time and effort into the growth. Once they get into their teens, and you're able to give them a little bit more space, then you'll start to get that back. And again, we look at the grand scheme of things. If you're lucky enough to live 70, 80, 90 years, giving out 10, 12 years of your life to dedicate to somebody else is not a big thing. Even if you have 2 or 3 kids, that you're looking more so like an 18, 20 year span, but you're gonna be able to get that back when you're basically older. Once they're out of college and working and they start living their life, you're gonna see the personal benefits of having raised that person and giving them that time that they deserve. So again, really consider or think about what your next steps are. Again, if you are expecting, congratulations. It is a wild ride. You are going to be going through something that you probably never experienced. And if you feel like you have all your present parents, then it shouldn't be too hard for you because it was modeled for you. And most likely, they're going to be there for your kid too. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Put them in the comments. Go ahead and share this, pass it along to somebody that maybe needs this. If they're already in that situation, they're about to be a parent, or they're considering being a parent, and you want them to really focus and take that time to consider it or reconsider it, because that can happen. Go ahead and share this video. Go ahead and give it a like. Let me know how I'm doing. I appreciate your guys' time. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.